Okay. Good evening. Yeah, we're in the Shevuous, a few blot in. Just a lot Nishmas. I have no shakis. Yitzchak Eliezer, Yitzchak ben Eliezer, Yeshua, Heschel, Halevi, Dean Bacon. Dean Bacon's yard site. Right. Dean Bacon is Dean Bacon. Dean Bacon, besides being the dean of YU, he not well known, but he unfortunately had the unfortunate pleasure of meeting with Adolf Eichmann in order to save Jews. Yeah, yeah, in Czechoslovakia, right? In Czechoslovakia, yeah. Okay, Nishama Shavan Aliyah. Okay, let's chaz river a lot, okay? A lot. So the Mishnah began Shevuous Shtayim Shein Arba. Yedias Atuma Shtayim Shein Arba. Now we'll leave Yitzhak Shabbos and we'll leave what Maris Negoyim. Let's focus on what the Shtayim Shein Arba of Shevuous. So the pasuk says, Levat V'Svayim, the Bitus V'Svayim Lahora or Lahativ. Lahora means to do something bad, futuristic, and the Toiv to do something good, futuristic. So the example is you make a shvua not to eat. That's bad. Make a shvua to eat. That's good. Okay. That the Torah says lahora lehativ. In other words, it's mashma only futuristic. It's mashma only futuristic. Then we're going to have a limud. We'll see it today for the first time, but it's in Daf Chavav. Machloikus between Rabbi Shmuel and Rabbi Shmuel and Rabbi Akiva regarding what about achalti v'lo achalti, past the sha'avar. Rabbi Shmuel is going to say no. Says Rabbi Shmuel, only future, only b'kan lahaba, right? But not the sha'avar. Okay. Yediyas atuma shtayin shein arba, right? You go into the base of Migdash, you were tameh, you forgot. You were tameh, you forgot, and you ate kachim. You ate kachim. That's mefurish. What's the riboy? That you know you're tameh, but you didn't know it was kachim. You know you're tameh, but you didn't know it was the base of Migdash. So the idea was the opposite. That's shtaim shein arba. Okay, so now what's the problem with that? The problem with that is Rabbi Akiva does not hold of the knowing you're getting your tummy, knowing your tummy, and you go into the base of Migdash. In other words, and knowing your tummy and you catch him. He doesn't hold to that. So we have a problem. Who's the Tana of our Mishnah? If you're going to tell me it's Rabbi Yishmael, I have a problem with the Shnayim Shein Arba because he holds not L'Shavar, not past. If it's Yediyah Satuma, I have a problem with Rabbi Akiva because he holds only Yediyah of not of the base of Migdash, not of Tumah, of Kodesh. So I have a problem. Okay, so we want to suggest it's Rabbi Yishmael. And we say that it's speaking what le'inyan malchus. We want to say what it's Rabbi. It's not speaking b'shoigeg. It's speaking le'inyan malchus, and you did it on purpose. You did it on purpose. Fred the Gemara Kasha, in the case of you make a shvua that you're going to eat and you don't eat, how can you get malchus for that? It's a lav shem b'maisa. You said you're going to eat and you didn't eat. You did nothing. It's a lav shem b'maisa. So therefore, we're going to assume that Rishmal holds lav shem b'maisa like in a love. Okay, and then we went into the Stam Mishnahs. So that's basically what we're holding now. In answer to the question of who the Tana of the Mishnah is, it's Rabbi Yishmael. It's speaking b'mezid, and it's speaking le'inyan malchus. Good. That everyone good with that cheshbon? Okay. So we're going to pick it up on Daf Dalid. We're going to pick it up on Daf Dalid, and about 11 lines down, 2, 4. B'mayu kimta. B'mayu kimta. How did you zetzayin? How did you establish that Mishnah speaking? Rabbi Yishmael ule malchus, right? Rabbi Yishmael ule malchus. Now, to be consistent, therefore, the whole Mishnah must be speaking le'inyan malchus. Good. So, Maris Negoyim, my malchus ikka. Maris Negoyim, where is it shaykh malchus by Maris Negoyim? Okay, where's the shaykh malchus? After the Gemara, I'll tell you where. Bekoitzeis be'arasai. It says, Hishamar b'negat saras. Right, guys? Hishamar, be careful b'negat saras, not to cut it off. And it's a loisase. Hishamar uchreb ovid amreloi. We have this quite a few times. Any of those l'shonos, he shomer pen la'al, eine ela loisase. It's only a loisase. In fact, fellas, in Yavamis, we saw a huge chiddush. If I'd ask you, where do you know asay dochalos asay from? You'll tell me tzitzis, that you can wear tzitzis a shatnis. Another source is a bris milah. If the child has in the arla, he has a what? He has a nega. You're able to do the milah because the mitzvah of milah, the asay of doing the milah is docha the los asay of cutting off what? Of cutting off the hairs. It doesn't say what? Lav, it says it's shomer, but you see if you're using that as source for asay docha los asay, it clearly is a lav. So far, Rabbi Shmuel is held serve. We have the Teretz is held serve. We have Malchus by Yediyas Atuma, by Shevuous. We have Malchus by Maris Negoyim. Okay. Now, what about Shabbos? Says the Gemara. Yitzias a Shabbos my Malchus Ika. Lav shenitein lasharas misas bestin who? V'cholav shenitein lasharas misas bestin lokan love. If this sounds familiar, right? We just had it in Masech Malchus. What's the chiyuv, guys? You see somebody machal Shabbos, and you're an aid. What do you tell him? If you do this, you're going to get skila, because that's what you get for being machal Shabbos. You get skila. What happens? You tell him if you do this, you're going to get malchus. Would you get malchus or not? Machloikis. Machloikis. Good. It's okay. If you hold a lav shenitin lasharas misas bezdin, right? Is ein lokin a love? We got a problem in our Mishnah because we're just telling the Mishnah speaking the Inyan Mazid and the Inyan Malchus, so we're going to have a problem. Good. Elamah, it must be that what Rabbi Shmuel has to hold lav anitin lasharas misas bezdin lokin a love. Now, guys, I don't expect you to remember something I don't remember. I don't expect you to remember something that took place a long time ago. But in the first Mishnah of the third parak, Elohein Aloikin, the Mishnah brought down Malchus by Chayve Krisus. The Gemara said the Mishnah has to be Rabbi Akiva. It can't be Rabbi Shmuel, and it can't be Rabbi Yitzchak. It can't be Rabbi Yitzchak because he holds there's no Malchus Krisus, there's no Malchus at all. And it can't be Rabbi Yishmael. Why? Because he holds you would get Malchus afilu by Mrs. Besdin. Why? Because he holds a lav shenitin as far as Mrs. Besdin, like in a love. So again, it's beautiful. It fits in like a puzzle, right? It fits in Geshmak. Again, we want to say the Mishnah is speaking Balinian Malchus. Because we need a Tana of the Mishnah. Right? We're having trouble. We had a trouble lining up Rabbi Ishmael because of what? Because of Shvuah. We had trouble lining up Rabbi Akiva because of Kachim, because of Yediyas Atuma. Good. Now, this works out. Rabbi Ishmael is the Tana of the Mishnah, and it's Linyan Malchus. So you'll get Malchus for what? If you get Malchus for your Shvuah, you get Malchus for what? Mrs. Besdin. You get Malchus for what? For I guess for Tumah, and you get Malchus for Beheres. Right? Says the Gemara. And for the Gemara, Mishum Hachi Mukminul Kerebi Yishmael, Dama Lav Shenitin Lasoris Mrs. Besdin like in a love. That's why we said the Mishnah is according to Rabbi Yishmael, who's of the opinion that if it's a Chiyav Mrs. Besdin and you would go ahead and warn him about Malchus, you would see Malchus. So therefore, L'chayre it's a good teretz. L'chayre it's a very good teretz. Now, what's the lush in Mashma? The reason why we zetzed it on like Rabbi Yishmael is because of Lav Shenitin L'Saras Mrs. Besdin. Who argues in Rabbi Yishmael? Say Rabbi Akiva. What does he hold? Only Krisus. Good. So it's Mashma. That's the only reason the Mishnah is not according to Rabbi Akiva. The Mishnah is not according to Rabbi Akiva because the Yediyas Atuma is only going on that you know your Tameh, not that you don't know your Tameh. And you end at the Beis HaMikdash. But not that you know your tummy and you forget it's the Beis HaMikdash. Pirish. If I would tell you why is the Mishnah according to Rabbi Akiva, you'd say because Yediyas Atuma. Rabbi Akiva says Yediyas Atuma is only one case. That you forgot you were Tameh, you went into the Beis HaMikdash, and then you remembered you were Tameh. That's the only case. And same thing eating kachim, right? You forgot. Okay, that's the reason. Why? Because he doesn't hold if you knew you were Tameh and you thought the food was chulin, or you knew you were tummy and you thought you were in Borough Park, and not the Beis HaMikdash, right? Okay, so Fred the Gemara now a kasha, tremendous kasha. You're telling me the whole reason you Zetstein the Mishnah is because of Rabbi Yishmael, because the Lav Hanitin Lasaris Mrs. Bezdin, and Rabbi Akiva is of the opinion that Lav Hanitin Lasaris Mrs. Bezdin ain't like in a love, and the Mishnah is speaking in Yamalkis, so that's the reason the Mishnah is not according to Rabbi Akiva. There's a better reason the Mishnah is not according to Rabbi Akiva. It doesn't work out by Yediyah Satumah. He only holds 2 out of the 4. As I read the Gemara. Again, in the logic over here, one more time, guys, one more time. We made a cheshbon. There's Malchus by what? The Mishnah is speaking the Malchus. Why did we do that? Because we need a Tana. Why did we do that? Because Rabbi Yishmael. Why did Rabbi Yishmael hold? You'll get Malchus by a case of Shabbos. If you warn the person, you get Malchus, you get Malchus. Good. And that's why we picked Rabbi Yishmael, not Rabbi Akiva. Why? Because Rabbi Akiva, because you wouldn't get Malchus. Mashma, if he holds you would get Malchus, everything would be hunky-dory, everything would be great. It's not true. Even without that, it wouldn't be good. Why? Because Rabbi Akiva holds Yediyah Satum is only Shtayim, not Arba. He holds if you know your tummy, but you think the food is chulin, or you know your tummy and you don't know you're in the base of Migdash, you won't get Malchus. I mean, you won't be chayiv. It's not Yediyah Satum. You won't get kares for that. I mean, you get kares from Sidi. He doesn't have a limit for that. Good? Very geschmack. Okay. You won't get kares. Says the Gemara, Halav hochi, if not so, meaning, if not the fact that it was Ashara, Shanit Nasar Mises Bezdin, Kaimi Rabbi Akiva, you could hold like Rabbi Akiva would be the Tan of the Mishnah. Kasha Yediyos. Yediyos Hatuma. You only have 2, you don't have 4. Guys, you with me? It's a lot of talking. Anytime I talk a lot and this is quiet, it's either you're sleeping or how are we doing? A little bobblehead action, nothing. Not good? Yes, good. Lenny, you good? Does anybody here want me to go over one more time? Yeah, say, be honest, say yes. Yeah? Kind? Good, thank you. All right, guys, look at me. Eye contact. Watch. Eye contact. We started off with a point. We said that here's the following. The Mishnah can't be Rabbi Akiva. The Mishnah can't be Rabbi Yishmael. It can't be Rabbi Yishmael because of Shevuous. It can't be Rabbi Akiva because of what? Yediyah. We're working it out. It can't be a carbon Rabbi Yishmael, but Malchus Rabbi Yishmael it could be. Malchus Rabbi Yishmael it could be. It can't be Rabbi Akiva. Why? Because he only holds 2 of the Tumah and not 4 of the Tumah. Good. Now, Fred the Gemara, if you want to be consistent in speaking to Malchus, you have 4 cases there. One of the cases is Shabbos. Shabbos, you have to warn the person that what? You're going to die. If you want him to get Malchus, you're not going to get Malchus. Says the Gemara, that's why we said it's going to be Yishmael, because Rabbi Yishmael suppose you would get Malchus. Well, and the lashon of the Gemara is the lahachi kaimi. Therefore, we picked Rabbi Yishmael. Fred the Gemara, you had no choice but to pick Rabbi Yishmael. Rabbi Akiva won't work. Even if Rabbi Akiva held you would get Malchus, you still got another problem. He only holds 2 of the 4 by Tumah. He doesn't hold all 4. As I read the Gemara. Okay, anyway. Says the Gemara, Kashi Yediyos. Says the Gemara, Lav Amid Rabbi Yishmael Chi Ulamalchus. Rabbi Akiva Nami Ulamalchus. Rabbi Akiva also will be Le'inyan Malchus. In other words, he'll be Le'inyan Malchus. In other words, he's speaking by Tumah Le'inyan Malchus. Yihachi Yediyos Hasras Mi Boyle. It's not a Yediyah that you knew you were Tameh. You're telling me if it's, guys, by Malchus, Yediyah is only a din in Bishogeg. You knew and you forgot. If you're telling me it's Malchus, you need to give Hasra for something. You don't use the word Yediyah. If you're telling me that what it's Le'inyan Malchus, the Mishnah, why are you using the word Yediyah? Use the word Hasra. Okay, the Gemara says, okay, Ihachi Yediyas Hasra mi Boile. Halei Kasha, not a problem. Tani Yediyas de Hasrois. You thought Yediyah meant you knew you were Tameh and you forgot? No. Yediyah you knew that you got Hasra. So it's speaking Le'inyan Mazid. It's not speaking Le'inyan carbon. Now, all of you should be jumping out of your skin. How can you tell me it's not speaking Le'inyan carbon? The first Mishnah said, Yechayiv a carbon all of Yediyah, right? I mean, it said it openly. Yeah. Ihachi, Fred the Gemara, Shtayim Shein Arba, Tartihu Davoyin. First of all, it's only 2, it's not 4. You only get Malchus in 2 situations. The Su, Eshe Yesh Yediyah Betchila Yediyah B'Soif, Vehelim Beintayim, Halama l'malchus my vidite. Guys, what's the case in the Mishnah? Go back to the Mishnah, fellas. Don't worry. Go back to the Mishnah. Okay. 3 lines down. At the end of the line. 3 lines down. You knew you were tummy in the beginning. You knew you were tummy in the end. And you forgot in the middle. Fellas, you need a yediyah for Malchus? You need a svah for Malchus. What do you mean? Yediyah in the beginning, yediyah in the end. The first teretz, yediyah of Asra would work the first one, but a second one you can tell me yediyah of Asra? Makes no sense. And then what are the final words there? What does it say? It says that you're speaking about that you're bringing b'shoigeg. So, in other words, you could have all asked me this yesterday, right? In other words, this teretz was a doichik teretz from the onset. I had the problem, but I knew the Gemara. You know, it's you can't give a teretz. You can't say it's speaking li malchus. State often you chayv an olav yored is a chetas. Says the Gemara. Yihachi shtaim shein arba v'su esheyesh b'yidim b'techila b'yidim b'soif v'elam meitayim halama lemalchus maya vidita v'su harezeh ba'olav yored. So guess what? Where are we now? Let's take cheshbon. Is the Mishnah according to Rabbi Yishmael? Mishnah Rabbi Akiva, Malchus, Loi. So we're back to the original question. Who is the Tana of the Mishnah? And I told you already, guys. Very easy. What? It's Rebbe according to one and the other. Rebbe held both. No, that's held both. Very schmuck. Says the Gemara. The Gemara does that often. The Gemara exhausts possibilities by going through, different variables. In this case, we challenged the whole variable of Malchus. Anyway, Ella Rabbi Yosef, Rebbe he. The Mishnah's Rebbe. It's not Rebbe Yishmael. It's not Rebbe Akiva. It's Rebbe. V'nasav la'aliba de Tanoi. And he went ahead and he learned it according to 2 Tanoim. B'yediyas, when it comes to Yediyah Tuma, nasav la Rebbe Yishmael, because Rebbe Yishmael held Yechayev, not only the Yediyah of the Beis HaMikdash, the Yediyah of Tuma, he also the Yediyah of the Beis HaMikdash. B'Shvuous, that Rebbe Yishmael did not like because he didn't hold of Avar, nasav la Rebbe Akiva, he held like Rebbe Akiva. So that's our teretz, guys. That's our teretz. Rebbe learned the Mishnah according to 2 people. The Rebbe's the Tana of the Mishnah. He held like Rebbe. Now there's 2 possibilities. He didn't hold like them. He just learned like them. Or in fact, he held like them. In other words, we can fit in pshat in the Mishnah, in mechanics in the Gemara, saying he held like Rebbe Yishmael by what? By Yediyah, and he held like Rebbe Akiva by Shevuah. Okay. The Gemara now is going to tell you, not only did he answer that way, but in fact he held that way. That he held like that way. Okay. Says the Gemara. Amar Vashi. Amarisa l'shmaitza kamed Rav Kahana. I said the sugyo in front of Rav Kahana. The Amar Li, and he told me, Loi tema Rebbe nasiv le'aliba de Tanoi. Don't tell me Rebbe learned it according to the Machlokes Tanoim. The lei loy svirle, but he doesn't hold that way. Ela Rebbe time of the nafshem mefarish. Rebbe's explaining, guys, his own reasoning, meaning he held by Yediyah Shnaim Shein Arba, and he held by Shevuous Shnaim Shein Arba, guys. He held both. He held Shvu Yechayiv Lahaba and Lavar, and he held by Yediyah Yechayiv for Tumah and Yediyah of Kodesh. The Tanya, okay. Minayin Shein Yechayiv El Al Sheish Ba Yediyah B'Tchila V'Yediyah B'Soif V'Hela B'Ntayim. So we're going to bring in the Shita of Rebbe Akiva. Okay, fellas, be familiar with this pasuk. Oy nefesh ki ashatiga b'chol davar tamei, oy benivlas chaya tameya, oy benivlas behema tameya, oy benivlas sheres tamei, and here's the key, v'nela mimenu, and it's hidden from him. He forgets his tamei. V'hu tamei v'ashem. He does an avera. What avera does he do? He eats kachim, or he goes to the Beis HaMikdash. Oy ki yiga b'tumas adam l'chol tumas le'ashayitamaba v'nela mimenu. It's hidden from him. V'hu yada, and he knows v'ashem. Okay, so we have what? 2 lashons of v'nelam. Says Rabbi Akiva. I'm giving you the Gemara outside. Says Rabbi Akiva, why do I need 2 v'nelams? One to tell me he forgot in the beginning. Then he had a yediyah and he forgot. And then the v'nelam, the first v'nelam, and then the second v'nelam. When are you chayv the oil of yored? When you knew you were tamei, you forgot, and then you knew you were tamei. Okay. Since Rabbi Akiva uses it for that, he doesn't have a source for how do you know that if you know you're tamei, but you don't know you're in the base of Mikdash? How to know you're tamei? In other words, I gave you that information the other day and I repeated it. I didn't tell you the source for it. He learns v'nelam to teach me. You bring the oil of yored when you forgot, you knew, you forgot, you knew. Nelam is new. That's what he does. Guys, you got it? V'nelam. He uses it to teach me that you bring an oil of yored when you knew, you forgot, and you knew afterwards. That's when you bring it. But he doesn't have an extra limud to teach me how do you know if you're tummy and you throw the school in? How do you know you're tummy? You thought you were in Borough Park, right? You never limud for that. Comes along Rebbe and says, once it says Venelam, it was hidden, obviously you know. Then the second Venelam, you don't need to tell me because it says V'hu Yoda. What does V'hu Yoda means? He knows he's Tameh. So therefore you have an extra Venelam. What does Rebbe use that extra Venelam for? That if you're Tameh, you know you're Tameh and you don't know you're in the Beis HaMikdash. You know you're Tameh and you Kachim. So we see Rebbe not only learned it in the Mishnah, he held that way. In fact, that what you would be chayiv for your dia of tummy. Okay, let's see it inside. Let's see it inside. Minayin she'ena chayiv ela al sheyesh b'yedia b'tchila v'yedia b'soif v'helam b'tayim. And in the middle, you forgot tamid leimar v'nelam shtei pomim. It says v'nelam twice. Divrei Rabbi Akiva. Now, since Rabbi Akiva uses v'nelam twice to teach me, you knew and you forgot you knew, so he doesn't have a source for what? For tumas yitamei kodesh tamei kachim. Rabbi Oimer et tzarich. You don't need that. I know that. How do you Oimer amid beis? It says v'nelam. He was hidden from him. Mechal diyoda, fellas. V'nelam. He was hidden. He forgot. Once you forget, it must be what? Once upon a time, you knew. Yes? So V'nelam, the first one, you have a Yediyah. Now it says V'nelam Echal Diyada, and then it says V'hu Yada in the pasuk, and now he knows. So obviously, if he knows now, it must be forgot. Harikan Shtei Yediyos. You have two Yediyos. Okay, the Gemara then, in Cain, if that's the case according to Rebbe, if I have two Yediyos and a halam in between, Matam Alem V'nelam twice, L'chayev al Helam Tuma, one, the al Helam Migdash. There you go. That's number 4. Guys, remember Shleim Shinarba. Shleim Shinarba. Right? This is Rebbe talking. This is Rebbe talking. So you see, Rebbe not only learned like Rebbe Akiva, he not like Rebbe Yishmael, he held like Rebbe Yishmael. He held the first and the second Nelam, he knew. Right? No, Nelam is the Yediyah. Nelam is the Yediyah. In other words, Vanilla means he didn't know but Vanilla is hidden means he knew and he forgot. Good. So what do you see, fellas? Guys, what do you see from here? That by Yediyah, Atumah, he held like Rabbi Yishmael. Ashlim be Yediyos, the Islay time of the Nafshe. You see that what the Rebbe held time of the Nafshe, according to his own reasoning, by Yediyah. Shvuah, the Leslie time of the Nafshe Minalan. Okay, so now, Rebbe, Shvuah, guys outside, Shvuah, Rabbi Shmuel said what? What did he say? Rabbi Shmuel said only future, not past. Only future, not past. Okay, let me give you the limud. Here's the limud. Okay, let me give you a lot of eye contact. Many times we've had this. I speak it out all the time. There were different ways to dash in the Torah. You can dash in the Torah derech ribu amiut, or you can dash in the Torah derech klal upratu klal. Rabbi Shmuel clearly darshan, Rabbi Shmuel Leimer, right? That we say every day, at least that much, right? That's the klal upratu klal and mechaber shmasha prat. So you know he darshan klal upratu klal. There's another way to darshan ribu amiut. So again, this is based upon a Rashi and Kedushin. Okay, you have a cup. You have a cup. What's in the cup? I don't know. I don't know what's in the cup. Fill it up. I fill it up. Everything's in the cup. That's a ribui. Everything's in there. I'm in mayat, guys, right? You take out something. Yes. Then another riboy. You put it back, except one thing. You'll leave out one thing. In a riboy, miyat riboy, you're always going to be being memayit less than a klal pratu klal, as we'll explain in a second. So, riboy is everything. Miyat is you memayit things. The second riboy puts everything back except one thing. Then there's the klal pratu klal. I have a rule. I have a cup. What defines what's in that cup? The prat. What's the prat? A specific thing. So we've had it many times, like by Shevuous. It has to be. You can't. This can't be karka, can't be avodim, can't be shtarosh. You can't swear in them. Kotshim. This, and then you have a klal. Klal pratu klal. So now, if you have a prat, you're limited to what? Ein bechlal el mashe prat. So if you'd say, I got a cup, and in the cup is gold and silver, you win no copper. You win only a gold and silver. Comes along the klal afterwards, and it says you're not limited to gold and silver, anything similar to gold and silver. So any metal would be in the rule. So klal upratu klal, ein bechlal mashe b'prat, comes along the second klal, and it says that, you know what, you're not limited to there, but anything similar to that would be. So the case, let's say, of gold and silver, if you just had the prat, it would only be gold and silver. Comes along the second klal to make it any precious metal. Okay, good. Rabbi, the limud for shvua is machlokes between Rabbi Akiva and Rabbi Yishmael. Okay, and the question is, how do you darshan the following pasuk? Okay, this is the pasuk. I will mention it. Oy nefesh ki sheshava levata bisvasayim lahora oy lehetiv l'chol asher yevata adam b'shvua v'nela mimenu. Okay, guys, here's your klal upratu klal. It says oy nefesh ki sheshava levata bisvasayim is a klal nefesh, right? What's the prat? Lahora oy lehetiv. Good. Lahora lehetiv. L'chol asher yevata. You have a klal pratu klal. If you darshan klal pratu klal, right? If you darshan klal pratu klal, then I'll be limited, just like the klal, the prat is describing futuristic. Lahora olahativ, you would not include past. I'll be more expansive that even anything futuristic. Lav dafka lahora olahativ, but I won't include the past. If you darshan riboy, miyot, and riboy, you would include even the past because you're including more. Okay, so again, what? Even the past, because the horolahativ. So guys, let's give the example now. Guys, the example of my cup. My cup is a Shevuous cup. My cup is a Shevuous cup. What's going to be in the Shevuous cup? Lahorolahativ. The only thing that's going to be in this cup is a Shvua futuristic of good and bad. Great. Comes along a klal, comes along a prat, a klal, and says, 1 second, anything that is like lahara lahativ, anything that's futuristic, lav dafka bad or good, anything that's futuristic will be a shvuas bitoy, and you have to make a carbon. What's not included? Lavar. That's not included. Good. What about the great Rabbi Akiva, who says avar is included? Rabbi Akiva says avar is included because he darshans derech ribuy mir ribuy. Good. And therefore, it would include even past. If I can prove to you that Rebbe holds riboy mir riboy in other places, in other words, then I would assume it'd say riboy mir riboy over here and he'll like a Rebbe Akiva, and then everything goes great. Okay, so I have Rebbe saying openly like Rebbe Yishmael. You want to tie the Rav Ashi that Rebbe holds like Rebbe Akiva. We don't have him holding like Rebbe Akiva. We have him holding the same mechanics of the mudim like Rabbi Akiva. And that's like not an easy Gemara, guys. Let's see it inside. Okay, so now we have him holding like Rabbi Shmuel. What about Rabbi Akiva? Says the Gemara, Four lines down. B'yedias this late time of the nafshi that we know that. Shevuous the less late time of the nafshi minola. And how do you know Rebbe holds like shvua you be l'shavar as well? Svarahu, it's a svara. Rabbi Akiva my time come a chayvi l'shavar. Why does Rabbi Akiva hold on a shvua that's in the past? The darish ribi umiyute because he dashens ribi umiyut, and therefore he was more inclusive. So very good, and therefore he holds l'shavar. Rabbi nami darish ribi umiyutoi. Rebbe also darshans Rebbe Mitoy. So guys, so here's the mechanics of the Gemara. You're telling me Rebbe is not only Rebbe learned this way, he taka holds this way. He holds like Rebbe, he holds like Rebbe Yishmael by Yediyas Hatuma, that not only because it says Vanelam twice, and the second element is extra because it says V'hu Yoda. I'm going to use that Vanelam to teach me that even if you know Yitame, and you forgot it's kachim, well, you didn't know it's kachim, well, you didn't know your Beis Hamikdash, should be chayiv, because he has an extra vanillam for that, and he says that openly. That's like Rabbi Yishmael. Now the Gemara, so he says he also like Rabbi Akiva. What does Rabbi Akiva hold? By shvua, you'd chayiv not only the future, you'd be chayiv in the past. Where does Rabbi Yishmael get his only future from? Because he dashes klal and pratu klal. Where does Rabbi Akiva include past? Because he dashes Rabbi Amiyot. So if I can prove to you that in other places Rebbe holds Rebbe Miyot, it must be holds Rebbe Miyot over there as well. And if he holds over there as well, I'll stem. That's what we're going to try to do right now. We're going to try and prove that Rebbe holds Rebbe Miyot, and therefore everything would work out. Says the Gemara. Rebbe Nami Darsh Rebbe Miyot, the Tanya. Okay, so this is the pasuk. This pasuk is describing Pidyon Aben. The pasuk says Upeduyov. Upeduyov, and its redemption, this child's redemption, ben chodesh tifta be'erkecha kesef chamesh shkalim. So we know that's 5 shkalim. So now, upeduyov min chodesh riboy be'erkecha kesef chamesh shkalim miyat, only 5 shkalim. Tifte, it then says tifte chazav riboy, right? And then you got riboy. Now, guys, be aware. This is not classic Kal Pratu Kal. Listen to the pasuk. It says Upeduyav min chodesh tifte be'erker chamesh shkalim. The chamesh shkalim is coming after 2 klalim. Upeduyav and tifte. The chamesh shkalim is coming not in the middle of the 2. It's coming after the 2. Keep that in mind. Okay. So right now, Upeduyav min chodesh riboy be'erker kesef chamesh shkalim is a miyat. Only 5 shkalim. Tifte chazav riboy umiyat riboy akol. My riboy kol mili. You can use anything to go ahead and be paid to your son. Anything that's worth 5 shkalim. Umay miyat, what is a miyat shtaris? Again, it has to be miyat something. It'll be miyat shtaris. So if someone gives you a star that he says he owes you 5, it's not going to be. Rabban and Darshi klalu prat. They dash and klalu prat. Mipeduyav min chodesh klal berka chesed chamesh shkalim prat tifte chasav klal. Klalu pratu klal yatadon el kena prat. Ma prat mafurish davar metatal v'gufay mamin. There's something that can be carried and it itself is money. Af kol dava hamataltal the gufay money. So to anything itself that could be carried and it's money. Yatsu karkois. This would exclude karkois and metaltal. You can't carry it. Yatsu avodim would exclude avodim. You can't be paid up with using your eved. Shok shol karkois. Yatsu shtarois. Afabisha metaltal and gufay mammon. They know they're not worth. It's the words that's something, but it itself is not. Good. So now we have it. We don't have Rebbe. We don't have Rebbe openly saying that he holds by Shevuous that you hold l'shavar. We have Rebbe saying that what? That he dashens ribu miyot. He dashens ribu miyot. 1 second. That's Rebbe Akiva's svara. Why you go ahead and include avar? Because he also dashens ribu miyot. So right now, Al stimmt, everything is good. Rebbe holds like Rabbi Yishmael openly, and Rabbi Akiva inferentially. I made up a word. Inference, right? You can infer if Rabbi Akiva holds al swat ribu miyot, and Rebbe holds ribu miyot, must be great. Okay, here's the problem. Rebbe does not hold ribu miyot. Rebbe does not hold ribu miyot. Okay, and that's going to be the problem. Okay, says the Gemara Kash. Amar Avinu Ramema. Rebbe Darshi Ribu Miute. Well, Rebbe Klali Prati Darsh. Rebbe doesn't darshan. He darshan Klali Prat. Titanya. Okay, when it comes to an Eved Ivri, we know that if he's happy, he loves his wife, he loves Shivcha, he loves his kiddies, he doesn't want to leave. So you have the Parsha of Nirtza. He gets in his right ear, not in the lobe, guys, smack in the ear. You have what? V'lakachta esem martseya. You'll take the awl. What's an awl made out of? Metal. V'nasata ba'aznoi. Okay, so v'lakachta is a lotion of klal. V'nasata is what of klal, and it says martseya. Okay, so now watch. I'm going to prove to you that Rebbe holds klal prat. But Rebbe klal prat the Tanya martseya. Ainli ela martseya. You can only go ahead and drill the evid using an awl. Minayin l'rabbis hasul, a splinter, vasira, a thorn, v'amachet, a needle, v'mekadeach, v'mechtav, all these things. Tamaloim v'lakachta, kol dova shenilkach biyad, div Rabbi Yosef Yehuda. Rabbi Yomi martseya, mar martseya miyuchid shel mateches, just like martseya is exactly because it's made of metal, af kol shel mateches. So you won't be able to use a splinter, you won't be able to use what? You won't be able to use, it has to be metal. Ramin of Maikim Ifli, what's the first machlekes in Rabbi Yosef Yehuda and so guys, Rabbi Yosef Yehuda is more inclusive because he holds Ribi Miyud. And Rebbe is less inclusive. Why? Because he holds Kal Prat. The Maikim Ifli, Rebbe Darshi Kali Prati. Rabbi Yosef Yehuda Darshi Ribi Mute. Okay, so we got a problem, guys. What's our problem? You just told me that Rebbe holds what? Ribi Miyud, and therefore he must hold like Rebbe Akiva, and therefore he must hold Shlish Avar. We see over here from the case of Eved, he holds Kal Prat. Says the Gemara in Ba'alma Klalu Prati Darshi. For Hacha Hainu Taima, you know the reason? It's the reason I told you, fellas. Because Peduyev and Tiftar are together, the Klolim are next to each other. When the Klolim are next to each other, then he dashens B'Miyot. So it's not a general rule. It's a din in Bechar. It's a din in Bechar. So now, the Tanya Rabbi Shmuel, it's not important in the Gemara there in Chulin. It says B'mayim, it says next to each other, Shtei Pamim, and then it's Ein Zeh Klal Prat, El B'Miyot. Why? They put the word Banacholim in the middle of it. But since they're side by side, it's not a Klal Prat Ribi Miyot. Okay? When you find two columns next to each other, hitl prapeneyam v'don mechal prat. Okay, so now, so comes out like this. You know why Rebbe darshan Ribu and Miyot by what? By Bukhar? Because it was unique. Because it says Peduya and Tifta, and it said Chamesh Shkolim. Guys, look, it said Chamesh Shkolim over here. So all over here he holds Kalu Prat. The only place he holds what? Ribu Miyot is the special unique place by Bukhar. Okay, let's go back to our original premise. Why do we want to set on Rebbe that holds Ribu Miyot? Because he wanted to go according to Rebbe Kiva by Shua. But now you tell me Kalu Prat, so we're back to first base. You want to say that Rebbe himself holds that way. He doesn't hold that way. Your whole premise is based upon the fact that he darshans what? Ribu and Miyot. He doesn't darshan Ribu and Miyot. The one place you brought in is unique because the two klolim are next to each other. So we're back to first base. How can you tell me, how do you know he holds like Rabbi Akiva? The whole reason Rabbi Akiva held that the L'Sha'avar as well by Shvua because he darshan Ribu and Miyot. Rabbi doesn't darshan Ribu and Miyot. That's the Gemara's kasha now. In other words, we're coming full circle. Says the Gemara, you're right. Hashtad Amid Rebbe Kala Prati Darshi, Balkorcha Kasha Shvua. Good. Good. Okay. So what do you have to say? Ela b'shvuas nosiv aliba de Rebbe Akiva. By shvuas what? He learns the Mishnah like Rebbe Akiva, but be'emes v'lei loy svirlei. No, it's not like Rav Ashi. We wanted to say he taka holds that way. He holds like Rebbe Yishmael by shvua. By Yediyas Atuma. He does not hold like Rebbe Akiva by Shvua. He can't. Why can't he hold like Rebbe Akiva by Shvua? Because he dashens Kalu Prat and doesn't dashen Ribu and Miyat. Okay, so Yotzim Midvarenu, as we finished the first segment, so comes out that the Mishnah is not according to Rebbe Yishmael. The Mishnah is not according to Rebbe Akiva. It's according to Rebbe. Rebbe learned Rebbe Yishmael and holds like Rebbe Yishmael, meaning that what? That the Yediyas Hatuma would include not only forgetting your tamei, but also knowing your tamei and eating kachim. That you didn't know was kachim. That will be included. Rebbe learns the Mishnah by Shevuous according to Rebbe Akiva that you be chayiv passed also. And in fact, he doesn't hold that way because since he darshans Kalu Prat and not Rebbe Miyot, Al Kochim must hold like what? Like Rebbe Yishmael, that only future and not past. The Fikach here, Torah mitzvah.